Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2006 Saab 9.5. Up front is a 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video here today because I don't review many Saabs. This is only the 6th Saab I've driven here on the channel out of almost 1,700 cars, so it is quite the minority in the shooting cars lineup. But the second reason is the fact that Saab has been out of business for quite some time now. And so we'll have some time to reflect on what this car was and what it has become. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2.3-liter turbo under the hood. Well, that is an interesting story. There was a lot of other engines offered here in the Saab 9.5 throughout its first generation run. We had an engine from Opel that was offered. There was the 2.3 turbo. The earlier engines were basically engines from the 80s that had been combed over for the 2000s, and you could even get a turbo V6. So this was kind of a median ground engine. It's nothing too groundbreaking, around 200 horsepower, which is definitely nice, and for the era, it was a good step up over competition for other executive sedans. But again, my face isn't melting. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. Now, you could find Saab 9.5s in manual, however, this is the automatic, and it's fine. It's shifting, it's doing the job. I don't have any complaints about it, which is definitely nice to see. Last but not least, about the Saab 9.5, it is front-wheel drive, and although they did offer some all-wheel drive Saabs, like the 9.3X, this is unfortunately not that. How does it feel to drive the Saab 9.5? Well, time has not been super kind to this. With over 230,000 miles, the suspension is pretty tired. The exhaust has, well, left the chat, and so I can't really judge it or grade it on those things, but visibility is good, and I like the power that comes from the 2.3-liter turbo. Now, it does have a pretty common issue of bad motor mounts, but again, at 230,000 miles, I would expect nothing less. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because boy, do we have quite a few quirks in here. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is the speedometer, and off to the right is my coolant temperature, fuel, and boost pressure from the turbo. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have a forward-facing paddle shifter, information clear and set, and off to the right, we have our source, play, volume, and another paddle shifter. It's not really a paddle, it's more of a shift button, but you shift up with the right one and shift down with the left one. Kind of interesting. Off to the left, we do have 2 climate control vents stacked on top of one another for some reason. Headlight switch, fog light switch, as well as our night panel. So this will turn off all of the lights in the gauge cluster except for the essential speed. So you know how fast you're going, but otherwise it completely blacks it out. And this is actually pulled from Saab's history with building military jets. Moving out of the door, we do have our power mirror adjustments. Latch you get in and out, and that's it. Moving into the center, we do have a climate control vent. Here we have the factory radio for the Saab 9.5. So I originally thought that this was an aftermarket radio, but in doing some research after filming, this is the original radio. Very, very cool to see. In order to do a big friggin' bottle test, there would have to be a cup holder that would normally come out of here, but it has since broken off. Here's a video of an actual working one, and even the working one fails. So no different here. The 2006 Saab 9.5 fails the big friggin' bottle test. Down below that, we do have our climate controls. Dual zone temperature, very nice to see for 2006. Heated and ventilated seats, again, amazing to see for 2006. However, the heated seats have something weird about them. When you click them, it's on the low setting. You click it again and it's off. But then you click it a third time and that's the high setting. Okay, now for the video. First of all, it doesn't work unless the fan is on at least a little bit, which is strange, but now it's operating normally. Why did it change? Down below that, we do have a 12-volt outlet and some cubby space. Then we have the lock and unlock and shifter in the center. And we also have our ignition in the center. This was another Saab quirk that it was pretty famous for. The ignition is in the center. Very, very odd. And if this was a manual, you would have to shift to reverse before you'd be able to turn the vehicle off. Then we do have our window switches and window locks down here, as well as some coin holders. And the seats. The seats are heated, ventilated, power, and memory. Fantastic things to see here in 2006 in a more luxurious vehicle. Now, unfortunately, because the owner actually is traveling cross-country right now, the back seat is full of stuff. So I can't do a proper back seat review, although I've done a back seat review in a similar pre-facelift car, so I'll cut that in now. All right, so we're in the back of the 2005 Saab 9.5, and honestly, it's not too bad back here. My knees, if I move them together, will hit the front seat, but otherwise, they don't. I'm 5'11", I have a manageable amount of headspace, I have power windows, power locks, I get a 12-volt outlet down here, which is very, very nice, and then I do get a center console with pop-out cup holders as well, and a little storage in there. Nothing else really jumping out at me back here. Nothing really too crazy, but it's manageable. It's a good size sedan. You're gonna be able to take kids back here, even adults. You know, I'm 5'11" and not a small guy, and I fit back here pretty well. Let's go take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Saab 9.5. I do have a trunk popper on the key. However, the key is dying, so have to pop it manually from inside. But once we open it up, actually plenty of space in here. Lots and lots of space in the back of this here Saab 9.5. Of course, this is a used vehicle, so keep the floor mats nice, put them in the trunk. But I'm really impressed with the trunk space back here. Very, very nice, especially for a sedan like this. Doesn't compromise on trunk, and I love that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I've never really been a big fan of how these look. This is the facelift, like I said. It was a little bit more modern for the time, but I also don't think that it aged super well. It kind of looks like the headlights have this really aggressive eyeliner, but I will say the back end does look pretty nice, and I'm happy to see that. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Saab 9.5 from 2006, but more importantly, a Saab 9.5 with 234,000 miles? Well, I like this car. I like this car and the features that it had for back in 2006. The night panel is really cool and special. The heated and ventilated seats are fantastic. The dual zone climate, wonderful. The 2.3 turbo, powerful, adequate. Back in the day, this would have been a really convincing package. But now, we have to look at this car for what it is, what I'm driving, and what is presented in front of me. And this car has been through it. Albeit, the owner, Jamie, has said that it's been reliable in his time with it. But at 230,000 miles, there are a few battle scars on this car. And unfortunately, the more I think about it and the more I drive this car, I realize that this is what Saab will continue to be because they're no longer being made. This is this car's legacy, is that they're going to keep accruing miles and miles and miles, and they're going to get more and more run down. And so in front of me, honestly below me and around me, is an aging artifact. Now, it's still a useful artifact, but it's like using a pickaxe from the 1850s. Eventually, there's gonna be one stump that takes it out. And this car is waiting for that, whatever that might be. But you have to respect that in the interim, it's still operating and going well for 230,000 miles. Next year, it'll be 20 years old. And in car terms, that's ancient, so we should implement some form of survivor bias. Don't judge it because it's been through a hard life. Judge it because it's made it through that life and it's still going. That's the beauty of this car. I'm sure it was owned by some preppy, highfalutin executive back in the day, but now it's fighting for its life. And it's winning the battle. Props to you, Saab 9.5. You're a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jamie for not only letting me borrow his Saab 9.5 for the video, but also bringing it here to Chicago from Michigan, so I was able to review it. Jamie has been wonderful to work with, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.